Welcome to the TCOR Nerdcast. My name is Jay Renfro, also known as the King of Roz, and this has been your mom's favorite show since 1993, other than Murder, She Wrote. We've got a lot to cover tonight, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in the action. Here we go. The Code of Roz! TCOR! 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 YouTube! Bring the cancer. Bring the cancer. Bring the cancer. The Code of Roz. Welcome to the Code of Roz. I've said it once and I'll say it again. My name is Jay Renfro, also known as the King of Roz. Also known as your mom's favorite person in the world, and all your base are belong to us. Let's go around the circle, guys. Introduce yourselves.
This is Dakota Ross, a.k.a. YOLO.
This is Josh, Whipped. Austin, also known as Colonel Rainbow. What's up?
Boy, do we have a show for you guys today. We were talking a little bit earlier. I was telling a story. Kind of has nothing to do with gaming, actually. It's more of a work side story. Which story was it I was telling, actually? Do you remember?
I have no idea. I've completely forgot.
Well, that's fucked up. Well, apparently we're moving on.
Bitch cussed you out a lot.
Yeah, okay.
I
was telling the story. For those of you who don't know, there's a place called Charter Communications. I used to work for them at their call center. I used to work at their call center here in Louisville, Kentucky. I was telling these guys about some of the calls we got. We were spitballing ideas for... We were spitballing ideas for YouTube series and stuff like that. And one of them that I was talking about involved some real life scenarios that we had run into. And there was literally this call where this woman just got on the phone and I called her ma'am, and she fucking went ape shit and was just, she told me she hoped my daughter got hit by a car crossing the street.
You know
she said she hoped my
though?
wife was raped and my mom was raped in her ass and all this messed up stuff. Yeah. She said all this incredibly messed up stuff, and I continued to call her ma'am and be polite throughout the whole call. And at the end of the call,
it was Jeff's mom. No, dude, I have met his mother, and she seems like the type to do that.
Does she have Charter Communications internet?
Probably does.
I couldn't work at a
They
place.
are techies.
I could not work at a place like that because I'd end up telling somebody, like, who the fuck pissed in your Cheerios
Well,
this morning?
here's the moral of the story. So I lasted there about 7 months. I was working. Actually, it was right around the time when you and I first found each other. It wasn't too long from then.
At the mall.
At the mall.
On a green
But on a green day. But no, it was. I was working. It was my last day of work for Charter Communications. I was leaving to go to Sarcom,
You don't get the joke.
and I remember the very last call. The woman started in on me, and I just, you know what, bitch? Fuck you! And I hung up on her. And I went and told my supervisor. I said, I'm clocking out. And he's like, well, have a nice life. 2 weeks later, they actually go back and play back the call, and they contact my supervisor, and they're like, we need to fire this guy. And he's like, you can't, he quit. He quit 2 weeks ago. But he called me, he's like, you're an ass. I was like, fuck that bitch. She should have been acting like an asshole. That's the part I didn't want to tell you guys until the podcast. I wanted at least something to be held to responsibility. Coda, did you had something new in Stoner News, right?
Yes, Stoner News. So, supposedly, I came...
What?
Okay. People was telling me this rumor that medical marijuana was legalized in the state of Kentucky. No, it's actually not legalized. Actually, they had a meeting in Frankfurt Wednesday the 3rd, I think. Was it the 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd, Wednesday?
Yeah.
They had a meeting Wednesday. Legislators, like all over the country, California, Colorado, Tennessee, all of them came over. Everybody was there. They got into a big debate and a big argument. They had testimonies and everything. But it got so heated that they actually had to call it off. They had to say quits because it got so heated. And while some legislators left, some stayed, and after a couple hours they continued the meeting. Well, I mean, there was some testimonies there saying, you know, my kid has seizures every single day. We had to move out of Kentucky to get to a state that has medical marijuana legalized, so that way I can give my son, you know, medical marijuana, because that's the only thing that helps seizures, other than pills that say they help seizures. But the side effect, the number one and the number one and number two side effects on the fucking seizure pills are death and seizures. Why in the fuck are you gonna give that to your kid if it says death or seizures on it?
Especially if it's for seizures, man. I mean,
well,
seriously.
And this is an absolutely true thing.
It's probably a placebo.
There is a medication, and because I work in the healthcare field, I can tell you this. There's a medication out there. I won't mention a specific name. To any of those listening, consult your doctor, because I'm sure most of you are suffering from this particular affliction. There's a depression medication out there where the side effect is depression or suicidal thoughts.
There's a lot of them out there.
What the fuck?
Actually, yeah, wait a minute. I didn't even notice.
Alright.
Have that.
Never even
But,
thought.
Like, that's like an escalation. Austin would know what it's called. I'm just fucking
But
with you.
yeah,
Go ahead, continue.
yeah, Jamie. There was. She said that, and she said that my son's not gonna be sitting here and smoking joints and blunts all day. I mean, he's only gonna have it in pills or oils. But I'm seeing it that way too. If you can give your son a pill or an oil a day to keep seizures away, and you, or instead of giving them a pill that causes it or can cause them to die, you know what I'm saying? I just don't see why they won't legalize it. But anyways, back to the topic of the whole debate. They sat there for a couple more hours, talked about it. A guy from legislator from California said that he suffers from rare bone disease and marijuana literally has saved his life. That's one of the main reasons it's legalized in the state of California, is because their legislative pretty much fucking said, okay, let's do it. But anyways, they're still postponing it for now because our legislative, Kentucky's legislative, said, we don't want to keep addiction going on in fucking Kentucky. Well, we got alcohol, we got cigarettes, we got pills. I mean,
we got meth.
Yeah,
That's-
I actually take prescription fucking meth.
We got
Kentucky
methadone.
prescription
No,
meth.
it's
Yes.
look it up, dude. It's concerned.
Yeah,
It's
they have
methadone.
prescription meth.
Oh,
They
pretty
got
much.
me on 100
Methadone.
plus things.
Methadone and meth is not always.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
Still,
It's not the same
Methadone
thing.
is a portion of meth,
That's
but
right.
it's not actually crystal meth. Crystal meth was
Oh, no, hell
created
no, I
by
ain't on crystal
bleach
meth.
and all kinds of other shit. You can't
You end up
call
looking
meth.
like a zombie at the end of your run with it.
I mean, if you want to be technical, then codeine can also be used as an active ingredient in meth as well.
Man, there's so many
watch.
ways to make everything
In the future,
today.
everybody's gonna look like a zombie because of meth, and we're just gonna go on.
Or
Well,
like an ace
the point I was
Just fucking
making,
kill 'em all.
Kentucky is the meth capital of the United States. I don't know if you guys knew
Jesus,
that.
why is
I
everything
knew
centered
that.
around
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
that's not a surprising
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. Eventually, in a couple years, everybody's gonna look like a zombie, and someone's just gonna kill them all.
Probably. Hey, no, dude. What you got to worry about is this
What a
bath salt
trauma
shit.
minds,
That
man.
bath salt shit's crazy. In Florida.
is. It's-
This
Okay.
lady ate this guy's
All right.
Yuck and futs, but
Jamie, they say one of the reasons they won't legalize it is because they say they are still saying it's a gateway drug. All right, listen to this. I've tried, drugs. I've tried plenty of drugs. I've tried acid and all this shit, but marijuana gives a specific high that's not like any other. It's not like a acid high. It's not like a fucking meth high. It's not like a cocaine high. It's not like a pill high. It's not even like getting drunk. It's its own euphoric high. You can't replace it with anything else on this world. There's nothing in this world that will replace the feeling that you get from marijuana. Not even spice will do that. And they are sitting there. They are sitting there saying it's a fucking gateway drug. No other feeling in the world. I mean, no other drug gives you that feeling in the world
I'm not
other than marijuana.
Like people that smoke pot, if you go and talk to them, they're not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, I've tried meth and all this shit." Usually, they all just stick with pot.
I'll give you the
It's the
facts right now.
healthiest one.
I did I'm sure you guys already know, I've probably told you 4 or 5 times. I've done a research paper in my English class, my last 2 research papers, One was an argument for legalizing marijuana. The other was a research paper on why I believe marijuana should be legalized. Why I believe marijuana should be legalized. Well, and one of the things that we did that I covered in that paper was indeed the point you were making about it being a gateway drug. The fact is, marijuana usage accounts for 52% of the United States. I believe 52% of people in the United States today actually said yes, they use marijuana on a daily basis.
Hell yeah!
The only thing I gotta say though is
Well,
if
here's the
anything's a
thing.
gateway drug, freaking cigarettes are a gateway drug.
Here's the thing. Well, technically cigarettes can lead to other things. But, I mean, you can say that about anything. I had a turkey yesterday. Who's to say I won't try heroin tomorrow? Turkey's a gateway drug. The thing about it is, you know, it's not that marijuana is a gateway drug. But people who've done heroin and done coke and taken pills and all this other shit have probably smoked marijuana at some point. Because it's the most easily attainable and the cheapest drug in America, or
Well,
supposed
until the winter
drug.
anyway.
Until
It
when?
gets a little slow.
What, the winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I always smoked in the summer. I never smoked in the winter. You know,
We
But-
smoke all year long.
you smoke all day long. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't do that anymore. I gotta have a job. Anyways,
I got a job.
yeah.
Man, you got a job with juveniles.
Jobs for juveniles.
In case y'all guys didn't know, I work on a horse farm cleaning up horse shit,
And milking them from the
and I gotta risk my life every fucking day with juveniles, people
Say he
that
milks the
are trying to
horses
jump
with
me and
smell?
shit.
No, I said.
No.
He said dicks. You put that
He
other
milks
piece in
their
there.
freaking dicks. That's what he said.
I milk their dicks. What?
I
I milk their dicks.
Slap it.
Good, so we're actually one thing I wanted to talk about tonight was some of the videos we got coming down the pipe because we're getting ready to start production on a couple of different parody videos. So I guess we can discuss it, you know, partially here just to give everybody a preview since we don't really have anything ready yet. We got an LMFAO parody coming up. We're gonna do that. The Party Rock.
Party cock. No.
Party Cock. Yeah, that's what we're calling it. It's Party Cock. Who's gonna dress up like the guys?
I got you.
I know Josh is gonna be the. Technically, I'm the only real bigger guy here that could pass off as the other guy. Well, actually, Austin, how tall are you? Stand up next to Josh.
He's the same height as me.
He's the same height.
Pretty much.
I'm
I'd
just
have to-
slightly taller.
Yeah, it'd have to be me then. He's too tall. The two. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures of the two guys.
The guy in like the G-string, like well, not the G-string, but the fucking the
This ain't
speedo.
fucking Gangnam
The
Style.
speedo just.
There's a dude in a speedo.
Yeah, man.
I've never. Is that an actual like music video or something? Or
LMFAO. I mean LMFAO did it, so I just want to be that one dude in a gold speedo. Or a leopard print.
the leopard print. Now I know what you're talking about. Well,
I
if you
want a
look,
leopard print thong
you look-
speedo.
One dude's a little bigger, the other dude's skinny, so I think it could be Josh and I. I'd be on the right.
I could rock the the puffball.
Yeah, that's one of the things we have to do. We have to find the wigs. And I unfortunately can't grow dark facial hair, so I guess we're gonna
I
have to get
can't
some,
either.
like,
Shit.
some like black spray paint or something.
I got you.
I'll give you my facial hair.
If my face isn't black, my pubes are.
Fuck you, young. Don't think you're hot shit just 'cause you can grow facial hair.
I can grow facial hair.
Can't grow right here though.
You
can
may
you?
be able to grow
No.
facial hair, but I've been growing nut hair since you were sperm.
Dude.
I've been growing nut hair since I was like 9 years old, dude. I hit puberty at a young age.
One day,
Probably why.
Cricket, he got
he just woke
quiet.
up with a boner in bed, and he
Hey,
was.
guess what?
Why'd
you know
you
what's
pull my
weird?
fucking hand forward?
You know what's
He
funny?
pulled me forward.
You know what's funny?
Well,
I have throwing
Hey,
stars.
Josh, take care of that cord.
I have throwing stars.
You bastard.
in my pocket.
What, miniature throwing stars?
No, like a real.
Why do you have those?
Dirty whore.
I don't know. I just carry them with me.
That's different. Don't kill me. There's two in the living room too. I don't know if you guys have seen them. I've had them for
Guess what? I slept
since
on
I was a
this.
kid.
Dude, I slept shirtless.
you slept
with
on
this
a
my back.
friggin'.
I'm surprised it didn't go through me, man. I woke up and I looked down and I seen the throwing star. I was like, what the fuck? How did that not puncture my skin. I got so lucky.
So, actually, now that I think about this, my brain just kicked in. You were talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 earlier, and I think that'd be a pretty good thing to cover. I know that we're Xbox fanboys with the exception of Austin, but let's talk for a minute about Kingdom Hearts 3, which is coming up. It's an upcoming title.
We have been waiting so long.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually.
They should have made that.
When did it come out?
like
I think for the
3 years
PS2,
ago.
it came out in, 2003, 2004?
I think it was actually 2002.
2002 for Kingdom Hearts 2?
I think.
No, because, no, I don't have
Wasn't Kingdom Hearts 1 like 2001? Or like.
Shit, I don't remember.
I think
It's
it
a beast game.
It's been a long time,
All
I can
Kingdom
tell you
Hearts
that. It
are
may have been
awesome,
2005.
But Kingdom Hearts 3 needed to come out like years ago. It should have been out years ago.
Well, Dream, they used all the games in between to kind of gap it. Dream Drop Distance, the most recent 3D, was a big one. But let's talk about the controls, because it's originally a PlayStation game, converted to the Xbox One, so it's no longer a console exclusive as of this console race. So what do you guys think? What's it going to be better on, PS4 or X360?
I mean,
Or X1, I'm sorry.
PS4, because it was...
it
depends.
You gotta think about it though. If it's good enough to switch a system, maybe it's gonna be better. Who knows?
Well, and
It was
here's
originally on Sony, though. Originally
but here's my
Sony.
point. Here's another thing.
Some ports to the 360 have.
Metal Gear Solid was originally Sony, and it's better on the 360.
It really
It actually
is.
had higher sales rates on the 360 because the controls.
I don't know,
are
man. I liked
Depends
the
on your preference on gaming, anyways.
Well, I mean,
depending if you like the PS4 or the 3 or the one,
I'd like
the X1.
I like
Well,
the
as somebody who
PS2.
sits on the fence, dude, I'll admit that I'm definitely a Microsoft fanboy. I absolutely despise their computers, except for the Surface. I absolutely despise their operating systems. I'm using Windows 8 right here on this PC.
it is not easy.
And Windows 8 ain't that bad. But I don't
disagree.
like Windows. I don't like Windows. It took a lot of getting used to. Even Windows 7, I don't like Windows. I'm a Ubuntu, I'm a Linux kind of guy. This is why I'm excited for the Steam box that's coming out.
Linux is beast.
The Steam box is going to be running Linux, which, if you know what the Steam box is, it's Steam in a box
Oh.
for your TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's a game console made by Steam.
That's pretty sick.
It's fucking beast.
Like,
It's sick
Can
as
you
shit.
like Gmod and sit there and play it on your TV?
I don't specifically know
That'd be
what you can do with it
fucking
yet.
awesome.
I haven't done a lot of research into it.
I wish
Might be.
Gmod go to console. That'd be interesting.
Well, they do have.
I mean, they got the orange box on Xbox.
That's,
I was gonna say
that's
they
what
got-
I compared to
well, that's
Gmod.
who's making Valve. They're the ones that are working on the
Freaking
console.
Gmod is
So-
a sandbox game. You can make anything. You can even make game types.
It just sounds like the fucking Sims and shit. I'm not a big.
Never heard of Gmod?
I'm not a big sandbox guy. Like I said, I like Dead Rising 3 for the X1. Mostly because
I love that game.
in my opinion, that's like the only good, game that's come out so far. Now Austin was mentioning earlier how he hadn't seen the previews for Titanfall, but that's gonna look a lot better. But back on topic, because I completely forgot and I went off on a tangent for a little bit. I guess you're right. I guess it would be to controller preference. But here's the thing. Sony's controller is completely different from Microsoft's. I mean, entirely. Touchpads and
Yeah,
shit.
this one has a touchpad and it has like.
Which is excessive. Why? I'm serious. I mean, look at this thing. It's lighter. It's got rumble triggers, so when you're shooting a gun, you feel that shit. It's the buttons are slightly bigger. There's no huge bulky battery pack.
I do think the Xbox
And the D-pad
the
works a lot
Xbox
better.
One controller, it is good, but it feels like how a PS3 controller felt in your hand. To be honest, it's that.
Well, that's funny because
Kiss
the
my ass.
PlayStation 4 dashboard and the PlayStation 4 live service now practically ripped off Microsoft's Xbox 360 design. So, there you go. I've gotten to see some live play on the PS4 and stuff like that through YouTube and stuff. And the dash is set up very similar to how the Xbox 360 was. As a matter of fact, the live services pay per account on the PS4 now. So you have to pay the $60 a year, or the $50, whatever it is, a year to play for for the full year. So to play online and shit and to access Netflix and all that, you have to pay the price.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
That sucks ass.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah. Well, it gets worse. They adopted basically what's considered the Microsoft policy on that. Microsoft altered their policy. I bought 1 year of live. Guess what? Everyone who signs into that console for a full year gets to play with a gold account. One console, one live subscription. That's how Microsoft did it. And that's a big win because it saves you a lot of money in the long run. Especially for me having a wife and shit like that. I don't have the money to go out and buy $260 memberships a year.
Yeah, you call me whipped.
Well, I'm married.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being whipped and being married.
You should have put a ring on it. No.
Don't put a ring on it.
Whatever you do.
Trust me, don't. If
you
you think about putting a ring on it,
your life is over.
cut your dick off.
Because your life is over. You never used that thing.
Well, and then you get to learn what a fuck up you are all the time when you're married. And then you don't get laid ever.
Have you not watched Reba?
How'd you get alcohol?
Have you ever watched Reba? The TV show Reba?
Yeah.
That show's awesome, right?
What is it?
With Van and all that.
Yeah. It's a funny show. But yeah. So the point I was making, and this is two big things about the PlayStation 4, because we talked about this a little bit last week, and we got off on the tangent of 360 versus PS3, which in retrospect, the 360 definitely won the console war in sales wise.
Hadouken!
And right now it would almost seem that it's about dead even Xbox One versus PS4. Since they're both rounding the 2 million mark, PlayStation's already broke it, and Xbox is right there with them. The sales calculations haven't really kicked in yet, but people are estimating that the Xbox sales are around that. So, the Xbox One has a standard equipped Blu-ray drive in it. All of the Xbox 360's games were equipped on a high definition DVD. Well, technically it's standard def DVD, but who's gonna get fucking technical here?
Well,
So they're on a fucking DVD either way, not a Blu-ray.
smashing.
So it's understandable that I can't pop my copy of Halo in there and all of a sudden, with the new firmware and the new drive, be able to play shit like that. On the flip, PlayStation 3 had a Blu-ray drive. PlayStation 4 had a Blu-ray drive. What the fuck?
It's getting old.
Exactly. They just want you to fucking pay for the games. And that's why they actually
they think
announced...
they're gonna make a quick
and-
buck with the console.
Well, this is kind of something cool that they did announce. I'll own up and say, yes, it is fucking awesome. The Gekai Cloud. The Gekai Cloud is going to be a cloud streaming service, kind of like Netflix, except you go in and you get to play all your old video games, like PS3, PS2, PS1 games, stuff like that.
Damn time.
Yeah, I know. I've been saying that since GameFly launched. Like, why do we have to wait for it? Why can't we just fucking Steam it, for our consoles
Exactly.
instead of...
Then you put Steam on
Which
console.
essentially, I don't know if you know this, essentially means you're doing the exact same thing that Microsoft announced they were going to do in the first fucking place at E3. And then retracted because people were too jackass to look into what the fuck they were saying they were going to do. Because they were going to make all games like that. I don't know if you know this either. Here's another little factoid for you. You can actually get onto Steam from your PC in there. You could walk over to my PC in there and get on Steam. And you can buy BioShock Infinite, brand spanking new for Steam right now, with like 6 other games for $15. You know why they're so cheap? Because they're discless. Production cost goes down. That was another of Xbox's goals. Unfortunately, the supposed fans, I say that very lightly, but the fans bitched and moaned and whined about this DRM policy bullshit instead of learning what they should
would have
learn.
had so much copyright infringement underneath the government's belt, you would have had no idea.
Well, that may have been the case, with but the
But I would have
DRM,
loved it.
the DRM was meant to prevent that, and that's the point of things. It's not meant to screw anything up. It was meant to help, to create a better environment, create a world where a man can walk into a store with $30 and walk out with 3 Xbox One games. That's what it was meant to create over time. As we move discless, that's what happens. And people didn't like it because they thought, oh, I'm renting the games. But, they weren't. They just didn't understand. Now, the Gekai, as I said, is a pretty cool idea. Xbox openly admits that they're probably not going to do anything like that for at least a little bit. So, Gekai is automatically a one-up on the Xbox One. But as far as the Blu-ray drive goes, why can't it play backwards compatible games? Because you're talking about similar formats, barely any change. You're talking about a simple firmware update. There's literally, technologically, no reason that that PlayStation 3 games...
How dare thee!
That PlayStation 3 games should not be played on a PlayStation 4. They both run the same drive, which means a simple firmware update, bam, there it is. And like I said, it all goes back to this. The Gekai cloud service, they want you to pay the $40, $50 a year, the, $60, $70 a year, whatever it's going to be. They want you to pay that shit to play their games.
That's all it's ever going to be.
Well, I mean, like I said, there's a huge difference between the one and stuff. It's Sony getting money hungry. Microsoft dropped the ball at the E3 conference. A lot of people didn't like their conference, and because of that, Sony knew, oh, well, we can just fucking do what we want. And that's why they did what they did. So now you're in the case where, as a Sony fanboy, because you are a Sony fanboy, as a Sony fanboy,
Rainbow.
you're getting fucked over because Sony got money hungry. That is exactly, and I know
That
I
really
didn't.
is it, though, if you think about it.
Dead on. I mean, with everything that I just mentioned a second ago, that's exactly what's happening. Sony's gotten money hungry. Now look at this controller, because that was the original topic. This controller has a touchpad and stuff. Why? Why? I mean, seriously, why?
That's obviously gonna fuck up everything. Like, say you're playing, I don't know, traditional Call of Duty, Halo, or, well, of course you can't play Halo on the PS4.
Well, I mean, and it all,
PS3.
everything kind of links back together. Because here's the thing, how is that going to make use in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna end up, since it's touchpad.
It would have to, the only time you could use it would be on PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the game developers would have to spend extra time porting it specifically for the PlayStation or specifically for the Xbox One. For example, tilt controls. When you tilt up like that, it knows and shit, on the Xbox 360 controller. The rumble triggers, the game developers would have to specially work in the rumble triggers. Additionally, they'd have to go back and work in the touchpad for the PlayStation 4.
Which eventually they're gonna get there.
Well, I mean, but you're talking, like, Titanfall, for example, which is an Xbox One exclusive, indefinitely will work for the rumble triggers. The rumble triggers in the Xbox One will work on Titanfall. Indefinitely, because it's an Xbox One exclusive. Same as certain PlayStation 4 exclusives will indefinitely work with the touchpad. But when you've got multi-console releases, it's likely that neither one of those two functions will work. So, it's something to think about. Why the touchpad? And I guess you could say it's for the exclusives, but I'm not really sure, because especially since they're trying to push their Eye. I don't know if you've seen this, but the new PlayStation 4 Eye is identical to in operation to the original Xbox 360 Kinect. The PlayStation 4 is the Xbox 360 with better hardware. That's to a T what it is. They learned from their mistake in the last gen. They lost the console war because they gave a shitty online platform service and a terrible operating system. The operating system is so simplified and boring that it's something that I think a team of designers could come up with in about 5 minutes. Not to mention 90% of the applications. 90% of the applications were exclusive to the Xbox 360. So, for example, you're not going to be watching HBO Go or Showtime anytime soon on any PlayStation device. That's a fact.
That's true.
So, it's a problem, and that's a fact. And nobody can deny that it's a problem. But, I mean, it's, like I said, it's just fact. It's the way things are. I done forgot what the original fucking topic was. But, looks like we're nearing about 30 minutes.
Anyway,
do you guys
hold
have
on.
any...
Oh, yeah, Austin, what you got for us for gay news? We ain't got shit.
No legalizations yet?
No, because people are stupid.
Fuck America. Fuck
The
America.
government.
Ah, the
Yeah,
government,
goddamn
what
The
about
America.
corporate
assholes?
establishment is falling.
They're fucking assholes. They don't know
Well,
what they're doing.
Considering we've already burned up 30 minutes and nobody really talked about much of anything, anybody else got any final words, any stories, words of wisdom? You want to put your cock on the
Just
microphone?
okay, later, but just two things.
Our government sucks is the first.
The second one. All right, guys, what was it? Seriously, if y'all didn't comment by now, you got one more chance. I'm done with you guys. If so, I don't love you anymore. Fuck you.
Well, we usually like to end these things with a challenge or like a question or something like that. So
I don't know. Shove a banana up your ass. Let's see how that goes.
why don't we do this? We want to challenge you guys this week to go out and film yourselves, playing a game of can roulette. And what can roulette is, just so you guys know, you just go to the store and you find the nastiest shit you can find, like 4 or 5 cans of it, take all the labels off and drop it in a bag. Shake the bag up, reach in, draw it out. Everybody takes 1 can, and you have to eat whatever's in that can. Sounds awful, but it's actually
Quite fun,
quite.
I would say.
Well, I wouldn't know about fun. It is
it is an
awful.
experience to live through.
It is awful. Anyways, for TCOR, for the TCOR podcast, I'd like to thank you guys for listening. My name is Jay Renfro, also known as the King of Ross.
Dakota, also known as YOLO.
Austin Mode, also known as Colonel Rainbow.
And Josh, also known as Whipped.
And always remember to have your pets spayed or neutered. Have a nice night, folks.
The price.
Drop the bass. Wow, wow. Wow, wow.
The Code of Ross.